I was living in Los Angeles with my 5-year-old little girl. I'm a single mom. I just shot a pilot for Fox, decided to grab a bite of food on the way home with a dear friend of mine. I had walked over to meet him, and he was just going to give me a ride home. He asked if he could come in just to use the restroom before he left, and so I was like, sure, I'm going to go jump in the pool and get into my laps. I, at the time, had a routine of coming home, swimming, doing laps. So I went out into my backyard. I have a black bottom pool. I remember thinking what a beautiful, warm evening it was and how inviting the water looked. I went to check and see if the pool was warm. The pool was warm, but my pool light was out. But I thought, oh, who cares? I've done this a million times. I know my pool. I kind of did a little bit of a seal dive just to kind of jump in. I can remember feeling the warm water break. One of the things that I love the most about being in the water is how the sounds of life and reality get muffled and you're in another world. Just a moment later, I heard this resounding crack. All of the beauty and the softness of being in the water came to a screeching halt. He asked me to move my toes. He said, no movement.
I couldn't get out of the harness. I'm screwed.
I kind of did a little bit of a seal dive. I just remember the most excruciating pain that I'd ever felt in my life. I had hit the slope from the deep end to the shallow end. I hit the top of my head, chin to chest, and rolled. And it being dark outside, and I couldn't judge the depth. And after hitting, I heard the echoing of the crack and the crumbling of my body. I could feel all of my limbs give way. There was definitely a moment where I felt I'm gone. I can remember feeling like a tiny little embryo. Like my body was curled up into an embryonic form and being pulled by a string upward. And I was just weightless. There was no connection anymore between my body and the water. It was just eerily quiet. And then I had the desperate thought of, I want to go back. I have to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. He thought I was showing off my breath holding skills
Bro, not funny.
until he knew something was not right.
Bro, bro.
I heard my friend's voice.
Where are you, bro?
When I heard his voice, I didn't know if I was still here.
What's your name? Where are you?
I knew my name, but I didn't know where I was.
Hang on. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Just hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
He took my towel from the side of the pool and dipped it in water and wrapped my neck to immobilize me and put me on the top stair of my pool.
Don't move. Just try and hold as still as you can, all right? I'm gonna call 911. Try not to move, okay? I'll be right back.
And he said, I'm gonna go call an ambulance. Clearly, my body was going into shock. I remember just flashes from there. Body trembling, feeling cold, the water shaking violently around me. I don't remember how long I was there. I remember opening my eyes and seeing the paramedic's face. He asked me to move my toes, and so I moved my toes.
You move your left toe for me?
And I said, I am.
We don't have any movement.
I thought it was impossible. My brain was moving my left toes. I knew they were moving. I was telling them to move. So I asked him if I could try again. He said, no movement.
We don't have any movement.
More than hitting bottom, more than swallowing water, more than anything, I think that moment for me was when the fear really set in. All I could think about was Madison, not being able to walk with her, hold her, run with her. I think I checked out at that point. On the backboard, all you see is whatever's straight above you. We got to the hospital and they said that I was experiencing paralysis from my spinal cord being injured, that I had completely broken my neck from my C3 down to my C5. There was like a 1% chance that I would be able to walk again. Being physical has always been a really important part of my life. It was almost just too much to even think about. They went in and they operated. The break that I had bruised my spinal cord, but didn't sever it. There was like a millimeter's difference in whether I would be a quadriplegic or be able to actually walk again. I was in the hospital for 4 or 5 days, and after the fusion, and they put in the rod and the 2 plates and the 10 screws, they said it's looking pretty good. I can remember not wanting my little girl to come and see me. The first time she saw me in the neck brace, I was asleep. She says that she thought that I was dead, and she didn't know how she was gonna live life without me. I just kept reminding her how lucky we were that one day I would be able to walk with her again and jump on the trampoline. My surgeon said to me later that had it been anyone else that had been there and tried to pull me out of the pool,
Hang on. Hold still.
it was almost certain that I would have severed my spinal cord. My friend who was with me happened to be the only fireman paramedic that I know. He did know that with head injuries, immobilization was the most important, and him keeping me in the water really saved my life. I only remember it by moments, a moment of impact, pain, letting go. And you realize that that is really what life is about. And I think I really try to live my life in a way now where I create moments that I want to have. I feel like I learned a lot of lessons from that pool. I feel my body in the water in a new way. It's ironically still healing me and making me remember how lucky I am to be alive and to be walking.
There was nothing for several hundred miles from where we were. It was up to me to get out. I'm not preaching. I don't have answers. I just know in my own life, my race in Kenya, the Safari Rally in 1980 was an example of me pushing the envelope too far and was not something that I ever should have been doing. I had come to Los Angeles to do a TV series, The Hardy Boys. And by the time I finished, I was restless. I think I was pushing to find what else I could do, and I had begun to car race. And I'd done some races and was putting together a race team when I got a call from a show called American Sportsman. Would you be interested in doing the Safari Rally in Kenya? I didn't know anything about it, but I always wanted to go to Africa, and I wanted to see Kenya, and I loved racing, so I said yes. I only vaguely understood that it was a 3,300-mile race that lasted 3 days and was basically nonstop.
This rally has the reputation, quite rightly, of being the toughest car competition in the world. The course runs through Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and is held right in the middle of the worst rain period.
I show up with my race suit and my helmet, all set to go racing, and I find out that, no, you can't wear a helmet because it's 3 days and your head won't stay upright, and it's too hot to wear a race suit. I came to understand that you basically sit in the car for 3 days, night and day, and suck on a tube of Gatorade. I would be co-driving with a guy named Joginda Singh, who was the only guy at that point that had won the race 3 times. He was a native Kenyan and sort of a god in Kenya because of that. When I first was taken to meet Joginda, he was charming, missing a thumb, which is partly how everyone would recognize him. I'm sure he wished he had someone more reliable that had more experience, someone he had driven with before. We had sort of an interesting relationship while we were pre-running a lot of the course. Some of the notes that I was reading off of and some of the directions I was giving him didn't match, and he started to get upset with me.
I'm riding a race here, okay? This isn't drama, this isn't a film.
I understand.
Okay? This is the real thing, life and death, okay?
Right. No, I get that, but
you were forced upon me, right?
I threw the notebook out the window, which was my way of saying no. Begrudgingly, I think he he accepted. There are a lot of variables in that race, which is why it's so well known. Animals will be in the road when you come flying around. A lot of people would hit animals. The Maasai don't like the race because it scares their cattle, who are sacred, so they throw stones and try to hit the drivers or co-drivers. The Mercedes was a silver 450 SLC. It had a slightly bigger engine. It was a 5-liter engine. The suspension had been beefed up a little bit. It had all this extra sort of roll cage around it and lights mounted all over it. But basically, it looked like a 450 SLC that you would have seen driving around anywhere. When the race began, it was 58 cars, of which I think about 26 finally finished. At the start of the race, you pull up on a platform where everyone can see the car. You wait to be flagged off. The cars are set off in intervals. There's a lot of excitement. You're in the center of Nairobi, and there are thousands of people there. It's a big event. Things seem to go well in the beginning. Once you're in the body of the race, there's almost a repetitive process. I mean, inevitably, it's left turn, right turn, right turn, left turn, left turn, left turn. And you're pushing and focusing so hard, and you speed as fast as you can. Sometimes we'd get up to 120 miles an hour, and the car's airborne a lot. And there's almost a sense of a cocoon in the car.
The road to Nairobi. Leading is Mikola. Joginder in full pursuit.
We were